Smart people aren't lazy, so why do they still procrastinate? If procrastination was caused by laziness, smart people wouldn't struggle with it. But they do. Even the most disciplined and ambitious people put things off every single day. So if it's not laziness, what is it really? Well, it all starts here. So a lot of people think that it's laziness, right? But it's actually avoidance. It's your brain telling you, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to do an easy task, not do the hard thing. And so that's what causes procrastination. You're not lazy. Something to keep in mind, you're not lazy at all. You can do hard things. You can do these tasks that you want to do. If it's homework, if it's going to work out, if it's just doing something that you know needs to get done, mowing the grass, whatever, any task. And so your brain wants to do easy things, not the hard things. So, for example, if you have a task that you have to do, let's say this is your task, and as you can see, this task is shaped, its size is bigger than the brain, because when you like think about your tasks, you're like, wow, this is going to be really difficult. So your brain wants to do easy things. So your brain wants easy things, such as your phone. Your phone's usually in reach. It's easy. You just tap the screen and it turns on immediately. Phone, it wants video games, and your brain wants you to eat. Now, obviously, you have to eat to survive, but what your brain is doing here with these tasks is it's delaying. Delaying is the big thing here. When your brain sees that task, it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, that's hard. And so, as you can see, what you do is you look away. So, you are looking away from this task the other way because you don't want to do it. So these three things all are part of delaying your task. And so that's exactly how procrastination evolves. So let's say you have an essay you have to write. And so it's due at the end of the week, but because you procrastinated it, because whenever you thought about that essay during the week and your brain was like, no, let's do something else because that's hard, we want to do something easy, that's why it gets pushed to the last day, and now you have only one day to write it, and you get pressure and you don't feel good about it, and it's just overall not a good thing for those who have experienced procrastination like that. So I have 2 tips that make doing the task easier. These make it so you can like start the task easier, you can remain in it for longer, and make the task more accomplishable. So my 2 tips on how to make your tasks easier, more accomplishable. Number 1 is to make it smaller. And I can use an example for this with splitting it into steps. For example, you have a mountain, right? I don't know, Mount Everest, let's say. To climb Mount Everest, and this is probably not right, but if you had to climb Mount Everest, let's say it takes you 100,000 steps. So we have our Mount Everest here, drawing the mountain, and we have your peaks. Oh, there's only one peak, but for the sake of this is Everest, right? And to climb up Everest, you have to walk 100,000 steps. Now that's a lot, right? But you can actually split this into smaller steps, so one step at a time. And it's the same thing for everyday tasks. When you have to write an essay, right? Let's go back to that example. When you have to write an essay, instead of looking at the whole essay, the whole picture, you only focus on one component of it. So you only focus on the introduction. You tell yourself, I only have to get the introduction done, not the whole essay. It's the same thing going back to our mountain. You don't have to do 100,000 steps. You don't have to look at the overall picture, the big mountain. You instead have to take it one thing at a time and make it easy. So one step at a time. For Everest, you can focus on one base camp at a time. Okay, I need to make it to the first camp. Okay, now that I'm here, second camp only. Okay, I just need to focus on that. And then third camp only, need to focus on that. And then eventually, as you keep moving up your steps, you start doing, as you do the easier steps, they compound, and now, look at it, you've climbed Mount Everest. So these small steps are easy, and by the time that by being consistent with them and doing them, you eventually reach the overall goal without it being so scary and daunting. Number 2 is just starting for 5 minutes. So I have a timer at my desk that I use. Let's say there's an assignment I have to get done and I don't really want to do it, and maybe I'm like being unproductive. I'm like looking at my phone or something and just fooling around because I know I have the task and I don't want to think about it. But when you set a timer, let me show you my timer here. This is it, right? If I set for 5 minutes, that's that much. This is about a 60-minute timer, so about an hour. And that's a sliver. Like, you see how small that is compared to the rest of the timer? Because it's barely any time, right? And that's what's important. It's barely any time, which means you barely have to work. You're like, okay, I have this task. I'm just going to start for 5 minutes. That's it. You tell yourself, okay, all I want to do is work for 5 minutes. And what's great is about this timer and other timers out there is that you can make it so that it's silent. It's silent so that when the 5 minutes is up and I'm already engrossed in the task, I'm already focused on the task, I don't even realize it and I just keep working on. So yeah, if you're still here, and you just reflect on this. If you ever feel unmotivated, you know you have something you have to do and you just don't feel like doing it, refer back to this video. Make that task easier by only starting for 5 minutes and split it into small steps so it's more accomplishable.